Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us at El Cafe. We want to thank Lourdes for hosting us this morning. This is a really wonderful opportunity for us to get the community more involved. As many of you know, we've been working really hard on our truancy and wanting to get our kids in our schools, staying in our schools, and making sure that they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. So this effort has been a true effort between the city, the school district, and so many of our partners in the community. And this launch today is really about involving our community, our larger community, in what it is that we're trying to do. And so we want to just thank all of our community partners who are here, Urban Services, Maria Sue from the Department of Children, Youth, and Families, the SF Police Department, who has been really instrumental in making sure that our truancy process goes well, and Captain Lazar is here from the police department. I want to thank him for all of his efforts and for supporting what we're doing. And I have from the school district Superintendent Garcia and our mayor, who have been partnering on so many different efforts. But today is about bringing our communities into the fold. When we see students out on the street, we're not going to walk by them any longer and just allow them to stay on the street and miss hours in school and miss opportunities to be the kind of citizens that we want them to be. And so this is really about showing the support for our students and that our community is here to be with them. And I also wanted to acknowledge Regina, who's with our small business office in the city, who has been really instrumental in connecting us with our merchant associations. And then we also have Eric Arguello, who's here, who is our representative of the merchant associations that we're going to be walking and meeting with this afternoon. So I did get Maria.
Well, I was paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unbelievable. I
So-
just wanted to hear her voice.
So without further ado, there are so many people here that I think part of the efforts that we wanted to really do too, and Lourdes, this is for you and your compadres around the neighborhood, which is to bring the staff to you so that you know who's part of this. And so we have our staff from TARC, we have our staff from SFPD, we have our staff from the school district. We have Seawalls, who are people that actually work directly with our families who are in crisis. And so this is an opportunity for you to see who the people are that are touching our students when you let us know that they need to be touched. And so this is really an opportunity for all of our merchants to see what we're putting in behind this effort. So without further ado, I want to welcome our superintendent of schools. This was our first week of school, which went off without a hitch, thank goodness. It did, yes. And the efforts that he's been doing around truancy and the support that he's been both receiving and giving to the city to make sure that our kids stay in school. Superintendent Carlos Garcia.
Buenos dias, good morning. It's really for me, it's like a dream come true, I have to tell you. I've been a superintendent in 3 other places before I came here, and finally my dream has come true. We have a mayor who is actually walking the talk, stepping up and saying, you know, what we need to do is that this isn't just a school district problem. This isn't just a parent problem. This is really a community, a city, county problem. It's everybody's problem. Anybody who thinks it isn't their problem, boy, they really have big problems because the reality is that the impact of truancy affects every single one of us in this great city and state. Look at it, you know, who are the kids who are incarcerated? Who are the people who are prisoners in our state penal system? It's all people who were truants. And 70% of our prisoners aren't literate. They can't read. And so when you can't learn to read unless you're at school and you're actively engaged in school. So finally, we have a city, we have departments, we have a mayor, we have a superintendent, we have everybody, teachers, now merchants, because we had to cast a bigger net. The net keeps getting, every time we get together, somebody comes up with a more brilliant idea of saying, well, okay, you've gotten the parents involved now, you even have the DA involved, you have all these different people involved, who's missing? And the one that was obvious to us is, where do kids hang out if they're not in school? Some of them stay at home, but we also know that a lot of the kids roam the streets and they go around commercial areas. And so this net now goes to the next level, saying, okay, now what are we going to do? And I'll tell you, this is something that needs to happen if we want to turn this around, and I think we can. The results are in from last year. We're 33% increase on improving our attendance in our school district. I think we can get it to a point where we'll be the model for the entire country. But I have to tell you, this doesn't happen by itself. It was great to partner, and we have been partners. I've been here, this is the start of my 4th year, and I can't tell you, we've had such a great partnership with the mayor, and it's my honor to I'm stealing the show from Hydra, but it really is my honor to introduce, I think, a world-class mayor here in San Francisco, Gavin Newsom. Gavin, thanks.
Thanks, Billy. Thanks, Carlos. I don't know what more I can possibly say, because I appreciate the spirit that Carlos offered all of us, and that is we're all in this together. That there's no school district truancy problem, there's not a city truancy problem, there's not a truancy problem as it relates to the issues at home and how they manifest in terms of attendance that we have in our community, not just in San Francisco, but communities large and small across the state and across this nation, a major problem with truancy and dropouts. And as Carlos said, it manifests in the most acute ways. If you're fiscally conservative and care less about social justice and the issue of poverty and race, you should care about this issue as one of your dominant issues, because the costs are extraordinary. The economic cost in terms of lost wages, the economic cost, as Carlos was saying, of incarceration, the economic costs in terms of issues that manifest if someone is not going to school and someone is a dropout are self-evident, and I think everyone can recognize those. The second thing is, if you actually do believe in social justice and you do believe that we need to reconcile the issue of race and poverty, particularly in the African American and Latino community, then this again needs to be top of your agenda, because the facts are overwhelmingly so that truancy and dropouts disproportionately impact the African American and Latino community. Yet we somehow, on both sides of the political aisle, play in the margins on this. And I said this with the superintendent and Hydra at I guess it was all your counselors, Carlos, and it was all your folks a week ago with the district attorney. I said, it feels like every year we're trying to fail more efficiently, which is just not good enough. Last year we made some big progress, and Carlos was right to recognize that progress, but it's still, with all due respect, not good enough, because we know we have the capacity to do so much more. And we've done a lot of good things. It's not as if we completely neglected this issue. We've developed some innovative partnerships. We've developed some programs that really are a model already for the region, in many respects for the state and the nation. But again, it hasn't produced the outcomes that we were hopeful that it would produce. And now with this new TARC, this Truancy Assessment Referral Center, which is the first of its type in the nation, with the new partnerships with our police department that have actually been embraced by the community, meaning it's not just law enforcement coming in to solve the problem and the community being wary of that the community is now supportive because they understand the sensitivities that law enforcement has to how they can be a partner in this, and how now we're, as Carlos was saying, casting that wider net to the business community to also say, we need your help. If there are folks out there in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week, in the middle of the school day, year, that are just hanging out, they shouldn't be hanging out. And we need you not just to condone that behavior by dismissing it or just being silent about it. We need you to get engaged. We need your help. We need you to call the referral center. We need you to call 311. Just call 311 and say, I need to let you know there's some kids out there. They seem like good kids, but they could be better kids if they were in class, not necessarily hanging out in front of my business or in my business. As much as I love them, I know their parents would love it more if they were at school, and encourage them along. And we've never had that kind of partnership. So really, spirit of the day is that we're going to go out and knock on doors and meet with the merchants, hand out these flyers. Can I see some of these flyers? These are the flyers. Say, keep it real, stay in school. And we reference the new Truancy Center that we've opened up, again, first of its type in the nation. We have telephone number that's direct to them, 437-1700, or they can call 311, as always, and talk about the opportunity to be part of this solution. We're going to ask that they put this up in their windows, because we want some of the kids to go, uh-oh, I guess they're more serious than ever about staying in school, and it may trigger a sense of responsibility to a lot of the children that they need to be part of this, or for a lot of the parents that may say, you know, I've had trouble with my kid, but here's a resource center. Here's a place I can call to get help with my children because they're not listening to me. And I get this all the time when we knock on doors and we meet with parents. I know how tough it is, and this is not an indictment of parenting. This is not about pointing fingers. This is about offering our support and our help. And we recognize the stress of particularly parents in this economic climate that are doing more than ever and have to do more than ever, and they can't do it all. And so they need our help as well. So that's really the spirit of the moment, the spirit of the day, and the spirit of a new school year. Final point. We're not waiting until the statistics come in. This is probably the biggest point that we have to offer. The most significant thing is we're not waiting till the middle end of the school year where we go, wow, we got a big problem or things haven't improved. And I just want to thank Carlos. You know, it's an incredible temptation. Mayors all seem to want to take over their school districts because no one returns their calls. They don't feel like they're being respected, and everyone on the street is always blaming them for the quality of public education. It's exactly the opposite. To me, that is truly a solution in search of a problem. It would actually create more problems. In this city, we have a model partnership. We have a real leader that cares deeply about not only the school district, cares about his community in this city and recognizes that we are all, again, in this together, and that he has a remarkable wealth of opportunity to resource capital and the human resources of a 28,000 member city family, and that we want to provide those resources. We want to provide that talent to help him do his job more effectively, and vice versa. And that's why it really is wonderful to see department heads that in the past haven't been working together, community leaders that haven't been working together, everybody coming up, stepping in, and stepping up. So that's the spirit, and I'm very grateful again for everyone's leadership in Hydra, your stewardship, and Captain Lazar for your wearing a tie and making the mayor look bad, and Eric Arguello for his great support and the great work he's doing down here at 24th, which deserves a lot of credit. Thank you.
So the mayor involved quite a few people. I always feel like I'm in a very privileged position because not only do I serve as his education advisor, but I also work with Carlos very closely on the school board, and I'm also a parent of a middle schooler and a high schooler. So if I find them at TARC, they will be in a lot of trouble. But I'm grateful, though, that there will be folks like all of you that are out there looking out for kids like mine that just, thought that today was a beautiful day and wanted to go hang out. So TARC will really kind of focus in on our chronic and our habitual truants, but we'll also be able to redirect our kids who aren't typically on the streets so that they don't get into that pattern of not being in school. I want to thank Christine DeBerry, our deputy chief of staff, who was really instrumental in bringing all of this together. I think the mayor has made it extremely clear in our office that truancy is a priority, and so all of us have gotten very deeply involved in it. But Christine worked very closely with Eric to make sure that the merchants were aware of what we were doing. She came out and spoke to them personally. She made sure that this is not the only corridor that we'll be hitting. We'll really be working, again, with Regina's office to make sure that we're talking to all of the merchant associations to find out where there are hot spots so that we can reach out to the other communities. So this will be one of many. But I want to extend our gratitude to Eric and give him an opportunity to talk about what this actually means for him as a merchant and as somebody who organizes the community down this way, because this will be really helpful, I think, for not only his membership, but again, for our students. So Eric?
Thank you, Hydra. First of all, I just want to thank the mayor for being here today. It's always good to see you here. Thank you to Lourdes for hosting us here this morning. Lourdes Lozano from ELS. I do want to say that this is a great opportunity for the merchants to really be involved in this program. I know the walk that Christine and I did the other day, some of the merchants already have passed that number on to some of their parents regarding the program. So I think this is going to be a great partnership. It really takes a community to really deal with this issue. The nonprofits, the local businesses, the residents. The merchants are really the eyes and ears of what's happening along the corridors, so they know the families, they know the kids in the neighborhoods. They're their clients, and they speak to them every day. So I think this is a great start, a good opportunity for everybody to come together and tackle this issue on. So I'm looking forward to walking with the mayor and talking more about the program to the merchants. So thank you.
So we have lots of folks that are involved in TARC. Actually, could all of you raise your hand that are involved in the school district or at TARC or at DCYF? So these are the folks that can answer questions for you as we're walking along. But we're going to have the mayor and Eric and the superintendent put up the first sign in Lourdes' window. So thank you for doing that. Yeah, she's got your tape ready.
Got the tape ready.
Yes.
That's great. That's great.
This is definitely school district stuff.
Well, you know, we do have an economic crisis.
Where's I'll take it up. Get it. No more community stuff. Cool.
Few more customers.
So hey, we're here to talk truancy. This is Superintendent of Schools, Garcia, and Hydra Mendoza on our school board. And we got this new partnership to try to encourage kids to stay in school. It's really innovative partnership.
I think it goes hand in hand well with your work project too. With your job program.
Jobs Now. I'm glad you know a little bit about that. Appreciate that you even know about it. Thanks, man. Well, this is the whole idea, is to try to get merchants and encourage them to actually help us and direct some of these kids to a referral center. So if they're just hanging out here and you know it's the middle of the day, you know they're supposed to be at school, not to get you in the middle of these things, but we've got a number where you can just call and encourage some of our folks to come out here. Here's a packet. And just help us encourage these kids back into class.
Sometimes it's a hard sell, you know these kids and their upbringing and their background and the whole one parent household, no parent household, all that. Put all that in combination with everything else going on, you know. They're already sad about, you know, their football program getting cut, and it's the only thing they ever wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, I've always thought of getting a school back with the schools. You know, the way that John O'Connor used to be, you know, some of them are still to be plumbers or other things. Not everyone could be an NASA scientist. I mean, I'd love to encourage them, but hey, maybe it's
But
not
I will tell you,
because.
we're putting in place, we have academies in almost every one of our high schools now. So we're putting a lot of that back in place because we agree with you. We want kids we're encouraging everybody to go to college, but they also, some kids are into more technical, jobs and things, and that's fine, as long as but let it be their choice and not the system that says you can't go. But we need to get them in school, and if they're not in school, then they won't be successful at all. So that's really where we're trying to get everybody to go.
There's so many things involved with that. I mean, it's all interwoven. You know that. I mean, everyone has a drive. Everyone comes to you, and it's probably the hardest. I would never want to be mayor. It's the hardest job in the world because
So you're not running.
I'm definitely not.
We're gonna
running.
need one.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah.
Regardless.